friendo, Steve here. Welcome back to Ask Wrestle Juice. You guys left a bunch of great questions, so let's dive into it. Number one from Bagman. Do you think there's a possibility WWE is building towards a Jake and Logan tag team title run? Even possibly with all the factions involved in current programming, Cody coming back to form a stable with the Pauls. Get real close. Get real close. Get real close to me here. I hope not. I don't really see the Pauls aiming for like tag gold. They might have a match against the Usos. That wouldn't surprise me. I think they got the Sammy Kevin Owens things going with the Usos there for for WrestleMania. But maybe for the next Saudi Arabia show, I could see maybe they do the Usos versus Logan and Jake Paul. Logan got a lot of great buzz for his performance there at the Crown Jewel. And so I could see that totally being the case. I don't think they're going to have a run with the tag team championships only because the Paul brothers are pretty busy. And in order to put a title on them, that means they'd have to be more than just super part-time, which is what Logan is right now. But I guess they'll have to explore that once Logan's back from injury because, of course, as we all know, he wrecked his knee doing that table spot on the commentary table with Roman Reigns. So I don't see that happening. I don't see them carrying any titles, but I could be completely wrong. I don't know. Maybe they can make up a couple of titles like Jake Paul made for himself. Isn't that the case? I don't know. I'll probably be corrected by a bunch of stuff. There was one correction from the last video I did on Crown Jewel. Logan Paul did not, in fact, beat Floyd Mayweather. That goes to show how much I pay attention to Logan Paul, which is very little, but still I should be endeavoring to get this shit right when I commit it to video. Apparently it was an exhibition and there was no winner, of course. I mean, he's going up against Floyd Mayweather. Of course he's going to freaking... Next up, John Davies says, hey, Steve, thus far the Saudi Arabia events have felt like glorified house shows. Do you think Triple H may have a greater impact on ongoing storylines? Do you think the shows will have a greater impact on ongoing storylines under Triple H is the question here from John Davies. I kind of disagree a little bit. I think ever since the one where, like the first one that like there was a big title change, like didn't the Universal title change at a Saudi show at some point? I forget. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of feel like the first couple shows were not necessarily part of the canon. Like there was the Super Showdown in Australia and they did the first Crown Royal, I think, or Crown Jewel. And those kind of felt like glorified house shows. But after that, it felt like they're pretty much canon. This one right here, of course, there was the women's tag championships that changed hands. So I kind of feel like they're not really glorified house shows. Things happen, story beats happen. I think that they're just like normal pay-per-views. Richard Ives says, what are your thoughts on Danhausen's AEW run so far? Is it starting to lose momentum with the fans? I don't know. He still gets a tremendous reaction whenever he shows up. I don't know. I mean, look, it's gonna get in trouble here. It's like everything else in AEW. You got so many people there that like it's hard for anybody to really break through. I was personally disappointed that they didn't go more with the Daniel Garcia, will he or won't he, is he Jericho Appreciation Society or Blackpool Combat Club thing. He just landed back in Jericho Appreciation Society. They didn't really go anywhere with that. So I don't know. Like Tony Khan probably doesn't have a firm idea as to what to do with a guy like Danhausen because he doesn't have a firm idea with what to do with like 80% of the people in his company. It's just how it is. But Danhausen still gets really, really tremendous reactions in AEW. He sort of serves more of like a managerial role, which I kind of feel like is sort of underutilizing him. But then what is he going to do? Go to WWE? The kind of thing about Danhausen too is that I'm not sure where he actually fits in as a wrestler in any large television company. Because what he does is so unique and it's brilliant and amazing and his merch is gorgeous and he's the best branded wrestler and I think he makes money hand over fist, but based off of just his branding alone. That being said, I don't know what you do with them. I mean, they've got 1 million titles. You know what they need? They need like get close, come close. They need like a weird kooky weirdo title. They got so many titles there. What if you take like, I don't know, the All Atlantic title, which I kind of like the idea that like if they sort of do a bunch of different nations for that title. I think that's kind of a cool idea. What if you have Danhausen make up his own title that he defends? It's kind of a goofier Svengoolie version of what Taz did with the FTW title. That's kind of a cool idea. Yes, everybody else has a title. I have a title now too. That'd be kind of cool. They should do that. Somebody show this to Danhausen. Tyler Warden says, what's the most unsettling thing you've witnessed at a live show? That's easy. Oh, that's so easy. Supreme, rest in peace. Southern California legend of deathmatch wrestling and independent wrestling. Oh boy. Larson and I went to an XPW show back in 2001 or 2000, and we saw Supreme get lit on fire. The clip, I'll probably run a little piece of the clip right here, but we saw that up close, and oh my God, it was absolutely horrifying, and I'd never want to go through that again. And in fact, we stopped going to XPW shows, and we haven't gone back. And guess what? Judging what I've seen from recent XPW shows, we're never going back. Next up, the Spectrum says New Japan Pro Wrestling's King of Pro Wrestling, the Kazuchika Okada Pro Wrestling Trophy, is all about unique out-of-the-box stipulations. What match type would you invent to challenge for that trophy? I didn't think about this beforehand. I would do this. I would stage a match and I'm only saying this because I saw my 300 bowling ring. A bowling, like a match where they're having a match at a bowling alley in the middle of all the lanes while people are actively bowling. There's an active tournament going on. That's what I would do. That sounds dangerous. AJ Forsyth says, with the promo of the House of Black being back on this week's Dynamite, you think Tony Khan will right his wrongs, or it'll just be more of the same? More of the same. More of the same. Malachi Black should be a main eventer anywhere. If he was back in WWE, it's very likely that he would be on that path right now. But no, I don't know. It's going to be in mid card. Maybe he'll pick up the All Atlantic title. Maybe they'll get the Trios title. Maybe they'll get the tag titles. I don't know. They need some titles. Once they get a title, then I'll be willing to say, okay, they're righting the wrongs. But I don't know. Again, I feel like Tony Khan really doesn't know how to handle a character like Malachi Black in the House of Black, because he doesn't know how to handle like 80% of his roster. Moving on. Jack C. If you could bring back any manager and pair him with the current talent, who would it be and why? Like if I could bring back any manager from the dead? I don't know. Bobby Heenan, and I'd put him with I'd put Heenan with a heel Ricky Starks. Oh, that would be amazing. That'd be fantastic. Ricky Starks needs to go heel, by the way. Blake Whitehouse says, how does Impact get out of the stigma of being too small for big names to go to as an option? Get more money. They need so right now, from what I understand, a lot of Impact's money comes from international TV deals, which is great. I don't know what their financials are like. It seems like they have money, but I don't think they've got like money to get the bigger names. And I don't really honestly think they need that. I mean, they had the Good Brothers. They couldn't have been super cheap. I don't know. I think Impact is doing fine the way they are. But like I said, I have no idea what their financials are. I don't know if they're doing well or if they're not. They don't seem to be in danger of falling off the face of the planet like they did a couple of years ago. They seem like they're back on an upswing. They seem to have like decent attendance at their shows. So I don't know, what they seem to be doing is working. But then you look, whenever they do like a Impact flashback, it's always like a ton of people at the venue that they're at, and it's a lot more lively there it is now. So how do they get out of that stigma? Do they have that stigma? I mean, come on. There's only two places that people are going to go, and it's WWE or AEW. And I don't even think AEW, like for the bigger names in WWE, I don't even think AEW is really an option. Like if Roman Reigns all of a sudden was like, I'm having a problem with management here in WWE, or Brock Lesnar, they're not going to AEW. They're too big. The champ says right now, as both main companies stand, and you were given head booker, he says essentially what Bischoff was in WCW, in both WWE and AEW, what are the immediate stories you'd want to do or get rid of, et cetera, et cetera. So the very first thing I would do, I would ask to be put in charge of NXT, and I would have Schism be a long con from the grizzled young veterans in stealing Joe Gacy's identity and his financials. And now they've got Ava Raine, who's the daughter of The Rock. You know, she probably has that Rock money, that Hollywood money. That's the golden goose right there. That's their big prize. They're like, soon we're going to be rolling in that Hollywood money. That's what I would do. That's the only story right now I want to change at all. That's the only story I want to have control of. Mary Planet Houston says, you seem to not have a problem with Jeff Jarrett. Are there any wrestlers then who aren't canceled and do still get booked for shows that would make you turn off the show or make you stop watching that promotion altogether if they showed up? And not really. I mean, you know, as long as they're not like, I don't know. So I wasn't huge on Impact bringing in Bully Ray because I think Impact has too many other stars that are like a lot younger that should be focused or should be spotlighted. But he's not a guy that I would turn the channel off of. I don't know that there is anybody that I would be like, this guy is so awfully so boring, I'm going to change the channel because he's on my TV now. You know, I haven't been enthralled with JBL on my screen just because I think they're using him wrong. But no, I don't know. You know, there is a difference though. Like the canceled wrestlers, the people who seem to be pieces of shit in real life. Yeah, I don't want to see them on my TV. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have a problem. Yeah, no, I love Jeff Jarrett. I think he's great. I think I was wrong about him in my early years. The Hound 316 says, if Sammy had an on-screen interaction with The Undertaker, could he break the dead man? Yup. I get the feeling Sammy could break anybody. Silver PR says, what would a new NWO look like in 2022 in the WWE? In the WWE, man, I don't, you go around to, I don't know. It's like Judgment. It's just Judgment Day. That's who the new NWO would be. How about you bring in Kevin Nash to lead Judgment Day, to be their mentor. And because there's a thing, Judgment Day needs to slowly pivot towards just cool dudes, you know, like they got that goth thing, which they can drop and just be cool dudes who sit around being rude to people. Kind of like Original Bullet Club was. If you ever look at Original Bullet Club promos, they were just rude to people. They were just super rude. And it's kind of the same thing with NWO. They go around slapping people around. So I would do that with Judgment Day. That'd be the new NWO. Put Kevin Nash in charge of them. Name Explained says, do you think in 15 to 20 years time, people will be nostalgic about the current pro wrestlers, regardless of how good they are as performance? Yeah, everybody gets nostalgic for whatever period they grew up in. So 15 to 20 years from now, the people who are like really enjoying WWE now are going to be super nostalgic and they're going to be like all anti, you know, what they're watching in 15 to 20 years from now. If we still have a planet in 15, 20 years. Remorse Betrayal says, do you think Roman would reach the 3-year mark with the belt, or when the Usos lose their belts, he also loses his? I think it all comes to a head at WrestleMania. I think it all goes down there. I think the Bloodline's ending at WrestleMania. I think Roman's losing his title. I think the Usos are losing their titles. So yeah, I don't know about the 3-year mark. Adam Bull says, when Kenny Omega's deal is up next year, do you want to see him return to AEW? Go to WWE. Come in real close. He's going to WWE. That shit's happening. Believe it. He got suspended for like 2 months. Didn't even do nothing. He got bit and he got suspended for 2 months. Shayer Mahoon says, you get the vibe that maybe they're doing a very slow build to Jay becoming main event Jay again. Maybe he could be the one to topple Roman. Hell no, that's not going to happen. He will have his retribution. He will have his vindication. He'll have his revenge, whatever you want to call it. Jay will get his. But it's not going to be for the title. That's not going to happen. Matt Mormon will end on this one. Says, help me understand something. Help me, Steve. A friend of mine keeps saying that Punk going to WWE would be such a shot at AEW, but I don't understand why. No one at AEW wants him anymore, unlike, say, Cole or Danielson when they left for AEW. Obviously, it'd be a big draw for WWE, but outside of that, why would AEW be upset at all about him going to WWE? This is easy. Because they fucking gave him everything. They gave him the entire company to do with what he wanted. He was referred to as the Plus Delta by Tony Khan, which I still don't exactly know what that means. It just means that he was Tony Khan's favorite dude. And then he blew it. And he wasn't very grateful for that. And I know what you guys are going to be saying. Oh, that the damn elite, they ran him down to the wrestling press and all that kind of stuff. And they spread rumors about the guy. I don't know. I don't see a lot of wrestlers come in his defense. Matt Hardy said the elite did nothing wrong and he stands with them. I don't see a lot of wrestlers coming to CM Punk's defense. I just don't. Look, here's one thing I don't think a lot of you understand. I was fucking CM Punk #1 fan. That was me. I was more excited than anybody. For years, I'd been saying, oh, he's going to come back. He's going to come back. He's going to be awesome. And guess what? I was right. He came back. It was awesome. And I was so happy. I didn't cry. Some other people cried. I didn't cry. And in fact, when it happened, I was like, well, this is cool. But it didn't really get me all that much. But then you start hearing, when Eddie Kingston starts talking about, oh, yeah, people in the locker room don't like you. Okay, well, maybe people in the locker room don't like him. So I was the guy's biggest fan. This is coming from the guy who was CM Punk's biggest fan. Not as much maybe as the guy who cried at the AEW thing. But I was still I'm like top 10% CM Punk fan. So it doesn't bring me pleasure to say this, but come on, open your eyes. Like, give me a break. The signs were all there. So the fact that WWE bring him in, why is it a shot at AEW? Because AEW, it's like, somebody breaks up with you and they go to somebody else. And it's like, oh, wow. You were talking shit about that person over there. Now you're having the sex on him. So that's why, because it's like, oh, I sat here at this media scrum instead of backstage going to Tony Khan saying, hey, listen, you and I need to work some stuff out with these EVPs. He goes up there with an agenda. He goes to this media scrum thing and he's like, fucking deal with these children, runs down the entire company. What did he think was going to happen there? And then WWE brings him in if this happens. WWE brings him in and he's going to be on best behavior because he wants to stick to AEW, who basically, because of all this shit, from his point of view, they ran him down in the internet press. Nobody in the locker room likes him. Jericho apparently called him locker room cancer. Oh, he wants to get back at him, so he's going to be on his best behavior. He'll say, WWE changed. Everything's great over here. Until he burns it down there. Anyways, that's going to do it for questions today. Thanks, everybody, for your questions. I appreciate it. Check out my crown jewel video right here. I worked on it a little bit harder than the other videos. I spiced it up with a bunch of shit. So go check that out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you over there.